Yeah, so welcome once again to our members briefing on the European Disability Card and the European Parking Card. These are two, yeah, this briefing is about the policy project been in the making for a very long time. Disability activists have been lobbying for this for many years. And last September, the European Commission proposed a directive on the European Disability Card and the European Parking Card. And this February, very quickly, the member states in the EU Council and in the European Parliament reached an agreement. And now it is, yeah, it is official. The European Disability Card and the European Parking Card are coming. This is a big milestone in EU disability policy, and yeah, we want to use the occasion for our members, to our interested people who are interested, to give you an overview on what the two new cards, what they entail. Which benefits will be connected for them for you, but also what was not achieved, which gaps remain. We will also have a look on what we achieved, what ENIL achieved with its lobby work. Yeah, we have three speakers from the European Commission. Anna Velika is joining to give us an overview over the two cards and what they entail, which rights and benefits come along with them. And then I'm going to give well, an overview over what was some successes of our lobby work, what was achieved, and which gaps. And then because the overall objective of the cards is to make it easier for disabled people to move between member states. So Kamil, colleague Kamil from ENIL, will talk about barriers to the freedom of movement between member states. Yeah, but first now we start with the presentation by Hannah from the European Commission. Hannah, you may start if you want.
Yeah, thank you very much, Florian, for giving me floor. So I do not work with Zoom in principle at all. So please let me know if you see my presentation. Yes, I will now start sharing. Tak. Do you see it, please?
We can see your presentation.
Yes?
Yep.
Okay, super.
Very clearly.
Thank you very much. Yes, great. Okay, thank you once more for giving me this opportunity to tell you something about our initiative. So, as you probably know, it was one of our main initiatives or actions of the disability strategy. We obliged ourselves to propose these cards and put them into practice. They are building on two current projects that are in place on the EU disability card that you might remember that we started with on pilot basis in 2016, and on the EU parking card for people with disabilities that was created in 1998 by the recommendation. So all these initiatives we evaluated, or we can evaluate as positive, but it's clear that they have some shortcomings. And this is why we proposed our new initiative on the European Disability Card and the European Parking Card. As Florian have said, we were very quick in the legislative process. So we proposed two directives backed by the impact assessment and external study that you can read. The study is.
Sorry, are you still on your first slide?
No.
Okay. For some reason, We cannot see you
Oh,
scrolling through the slides. Maybe stop sharing and start again.
okay.
Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Okay, so now how to get out of here? Okay, so I should start again, yeah, to share it.
Yeah,
Let
yeah,
me see. But
already.
I really don't know, like. So if I now move, do you see the slides moving?
Now it's working. Yes, now it's working.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yes.
and
Sorry.
can I leave it smaller to be sure? Is it okay like this? Is it visible or not?
Visible.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so yeah, as I said, we built ourselves our work on the previous projects, and we were very quick in the legislative process. In fact, we proposed two directives. One is the main directive establishing the cards, and the second one is just technical directive that is extending the cards as well to the third country nationals legally residing in member states. So it is quite a short technical directive. Both directives were or the compromise text of the directives were approved. We were very quick in our negotiations with member states and the European Parliament. It was very interesting and I would say pleasant experience, and European Parliament was very happy with the initiative, and we came to some conclusions. But regarding to the fact that the European Parliament is ending now, the directives were approved by only in the first reading. Yeah, so it means that now we still need to have the final vote that will be in autumn. And after the directives, we hope that they will be approved by the European Parliament, by the new one, are approved, then still the Council of Ministers need to approve the directives. And what is important, and we are already starting our work, the directive, the main directive provides for delegated and implementing act. And our obligation now to be able to put the cards into place is to propose the delegated act that would be setting QR code and other security, if appropriate, features of the physical card. Yeah. So after these two directives, there will be another legal act that will provide for technicalities. Yeah. And then this will be for the physical card, for physical cards. But then as well, we will prepare implementing act, and by this implementing act, we will propose technicalities for digitalized cards. Because as you probably know, the cards should be physical, but as well digital. But unfortunately, there is the obligation to have both physical and digital European disability card. But for the parking card, there was some opposition. So the digital format will be only optional for now. Here, okay, so it was state of play. And here you can see for your information what our analysis, what was our thinking for putting the initiative in place. This is described in detail in the impact assessment and as well in external background study. So this is our intervention logic, why we propose this initiative. So main objectives are the free movement of persons with disabilities that we would like to facilitate by the mutual recognition of their disability status. And as well, second objective is to grant access to benefits and preferential conditions that are reserved for persons with disabilities by some services in the visited member states. So by our directives, we are putting in place rules for introducing the European Disability Card, which will be the proof of disability status, and an improved European parking card for persons with disabilities. And this will be the proof to parking conditions and facilities that are reserved for persons with disabilities. Why I'm saying improved? Because you may know, or maybe you experience yourself, problems with the recognition of the parking card, and this we would like to tackle by this new card that will really need to respect the European model, so there wouldn't be still problems with recognition of different formats of the card. So both these cards will be on a European common template, and they will be the same in all countries. At the same time, we are not providing for any harmonization, so we are respecting the national competencies for disability assessment and as well for granting special conditions or preferential treatment. In principle, the core basis of the initiative is that what is in place should be now provided to card holders from other countries. But we are not creating any new preferential conditions or preferential treatment. And this is very important to take in mind. So these are the common formats of the cards. Both will be both include as well Braille. Here you don't see Braille on the European parking card, but we agreed with member states, with the European Parliament. So the final template, final card will have as well Braille. Beneficiaries are union citizens, family members, personal assistants. That the third country nationals are covered by complementary directive. Third country nationals with recognized disability status, of course. Scope of the directive, that is very important for the parking card. We have parking condition facilities where special conditions are offered to holders of the parking card. Then for the European Disability Card, we have services in the internal market, we have passengers transport services, and then other activities and facilities. And what is as well important to stress, it is in the context of a short stay. So in principle, it's meant for traveling and visiting other member states. And this short term can be defined as 3 months. So it is these cards are not meant for changing residence. This must be clear. What are special conditions or preferential treatment? They can be provided on voluntary basis, or these are conditions, some benefits, sales, or whatever that are based on legal obligations. There might be for remuneration as well for non-remuneration, like different types of services. Here we wanted to list or to specify that really services are very different. Here I have some examples. So these might be free tickets or reduced fees for whatever services, priority access, that is very, very important, and then these reserve parking spaces. And of course, in our impact assessment and our external study, we were doing some mapping of services that are providing benefits and preferential treatment. And of course, we have realized that the main areas are those that are already covered by the pilot EU disability card. So it means transport, culture, sport, leisure, and these services that in principle are already covered in few countries. What is as well important to know that the card cannot cover benefits in the area of social security. These are benefits that are already regulated by other regulations on coordination of social security. Then there are as well some other services or conditions that were introduced later in the directive, and in principle, all these exceptions that you can see, for example, if I read long-term inclusion, habilitation, rehabilitation, and then you have other special conditions, preferential treatment in consideration of individual needs. So these are in principle services that are based on a specific assessment for individual needs, and these are not covered by the directive, but in principle these type of services are anyway connected to residence or to social protection mostly. So as I said, the cards are meant for traveling and visiting other member states for short stay. However, we know that there is a very important group of people that are staying for longer period. So in fact, it was not excluded, but the European Parliament was very strong that they wanted to have it specifically mentioned in the directive. So we introduced wording so that it would be fully clear that the directive covers as well specific situation of students and participants of mobility programs. So it means that for them this period of application would be longer than 3 months. And at the same time, member states are free to decide on application for periods longer than this period of short stay. Yeah, so this is all described in the directive, and there is this possibility. Yeah, security. Well, the problems with the old EU parking card was not only problems in mutual recognition of cards, because they are very different country. There are big differences in different countries, but as well there were problems, or there are problems with fraud and forgery. So we pay significant attention to securing a security, and both cards will have security features so to avoid fraud and forgery. As a basics, there will be a secured QR code, and as I said, we will prepare this in delegated and implementing act to ensure that the card are secured, and because this is as well important for trust, mutual trust, and mutual recommendation and mutual well, as concerns implementation, unfortunately, the implementation period is quite long. Member states have 30 months for the directive's transposition and 42 months for their implementation. So if we count realistically, it leads us to 2028 when the cards should be in place. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Hannah. We will have a first round of questions now before
Yes.
we go over to the other presentations.
Mhm.
I don't know how much time you have, Hannah. Okay.
I will stay till the end, of course.
Okay. Are there questions, remarks, comments to Hannah? Yes, Simon, please.
Hello, I'm a person with disability. I use a wheelchair on an everyday basis. Travel quite big. My question is, of course, idea is very nice to make some standardized card, but I have a question. Is it something I am applying for once and then it has some time of expiration? For example, every 2 years I need to renew it, this card, and I can move anywhere, anytime, or I should apply for it before going to a visitor? Because when I use a train, I need to 2 weeks before the travel, I need to form institution, which is not so spontaneously. It doesn't work if I want to go the next day with train. So my question is, with this card, how it will look like, the applying form, the expiration date? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I now do not know exactly if there is expiration date in the directive. I will have a look. Expiration. No, I think that the directive doesn't provide for expiration, but yes, of course, there will be expiration. I think that what we were discussing most logically, and it was as well with the EU disability card, it could be 5 years. Or it may be as well based on the national arrangements, because in principle we are not changing national procedures for disability assessment, and the card is not replacing, usually it's not replacing the national cards, so it will be harmonized with the national procedures. Where we were listening to voices and concerns from the disability community, that it should not be that you would get the card automatically even if you don't want it. But the directive is a little bit open in this respect, so it might be that the cards are issued on request, or the member states would issue the cards automatically. But definitely there wouldn't be expiration period 1 2 years. This would be very short. The cards are of course linked to recognized disability. Yeah, so they are in principle for people that are eligible for some kind of national card certificates or other proofs of needs for some services. The parking card, of course, this is something different because it has its own eligibility criteria that will be applied, that will continue to be applied country by country. The cards are not going into this area of passengers' rights that are being, but I know that our colleagues from DG Move, they are working on revisions of the directives or regulations all the time. But this is not this is not changing this particular legislation as concerned the passengers' rights.
Okay, thank you. Because my concern was if every time I go out, I should apply for it. But
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay.
It will be in principle. We like this comparison a little bit to passport. Yeah, so it's in principle something like this. But in some countries, the European disability card will be as national card. Yeah, so it will continue this practice with the EU disability card that in some countries like Belgium, Malta, now it's national card.
Okay, so thank you very much for answering my question. Good luck with that idea, which is very nice, I think. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
perhaps there's also a topic which will be discussed when it comes to the implementation. Okay, next, Radoslav raised the hand. Radoslav, please.
Yes, I would like to ask about presentation. Could you send presentation to our email?
Of course,
amazing.
Of course.
Yeah,
amazing. Of course.
And thank you for the all answer. Pretty amazing information.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I will send, Hannah will share the presentation with me
Yes.
and send it to all participants. Next, Damon has raised his hand. Damon, please.
Yeah, I have a problem because I travel across different borders and stuff like that. I've been a disabled driver since February of 1997, after I was on the first board of people with disabilities there from Ireland. But until 5 years ago, I didn't have anything in Republic of Ireland until I could prove my 90s records and reports, and medical needs got me a disabled parking badge in Northern Ireland before Brexit was complete. I used that and brought it to medical examination in Belgium, and they had a look at my file and had to look at me struggling to get around in a wheelchair and transfer, and absolutely astounded how I couldn't get anything in the Republic of Ireland. So I flew back to Ireland and got a phone call from the senior area medical officer. So I got my disabled parking badge and stuff like that. Eventually in Ireland, just over 4 years ago, just as Brexit was being completed, and corona restrictions were coming in, so I didn't get use of the toll tag or anything like that, and now none of the other schemes. Now, in the last few months, I've started getting the disability card and parking badge for use when I'm in Belgium, because I obviously can't take the disabled parking badge on the car here while it's in Dublin Airport disabled parking lot or in an airport hotel. So I have one for our Belgian address. So I have parking badge and European disability card for use on the continent, because the free travel pass doesn't have biometrics on it, and it's not usable outside of Ireland and Northern Ireland. So the systems are not yet compatible. Ireland's only just agreed to the EU disability card, so I have the Belgian one now instead.
Yes, I see. Okay. Yes.
Okay. I guess this was more a comment than a question. Anything to add to this, Anna, or no?
No.
Okay. Then the next hand, Alexa. Please, Alexa.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I have question because I'm not from a member state, but I live in France as a European Solidarity Corps volunteer, but I hope that I will live here something longer. But okay, for now, I will stay here for 1 year. Will I be able to apply for this card, because I don't have any document which recognize my disability, and even if I'm not member of European Union, but I live here, and if I would be student here, will I have a right to apply for this card?
Well, you need to first, you need to have some, your disability recognized by some national card or certificate. And then you would need to be third country national legally residing. Yeah. So here are these two principles. So you would need to have your disability recognized, but I would say that this time it would need to be by France, and you would need to be legally residing in France, and then French authorities would be able to provide you with the card. And as I said, the card will be in place in 2028. So by then, maybe your situation will be stabilized. You will have your residence and recognized disability. So then you will be able to apply. Yeah, it will still be 24, almost 4 years before the cards are in place.
Oh yes, but so in this situation, let's talk if it's already work, this card, and I would not have a right as a volunteer, European Solidarity Corps volunteer. I would not have a right to apply now, because I'm not resident in France. I have visa, but I'm not resident.
No,
I'm not citizen.
No, in this case, not, because you need to be like legally residing, in France, and your status is, I think, ad hoc, short term. So then it's
no 1 year, 1 year, but
1 year.
yes. Okay.
For in the second technical directive, there are some specifications as concerns this resident status. But as I said, the cards will be in place only in 2028. So by then, your status could change.
Yes, I will see. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, any other questions? That was a tricky case. All right. If there are no more questions, we thank Hannah for the questions, for the answers and the comments. Okay, are you gonna stay with us, Hannah, or?
Yes, of course, I will stay. I'm interested in your presentations and views, so I will be here and I will send you my presentation immediately when I read the chat. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. No, there's no reason to hurry. You cannot. So, okay, then we'll go to the next bit. I'm gonna give you an overview on what our objectives as ENIL were, some things we wanted from the cards, what we achieved, and what some gaps remain for future activities. So from the start, also already in early 2023, the European Commission started to consult on this, and yeah, we participated, contributed to the consultations. We had statements and submitted amendments and had meetings with MEPs. So we were very active. And what did we achieve and which gaps remain? An important objective was ours to ensure that disabled people and their representative organizations would have a role in the cards even after they were agreed. So this is something the UNCRPD calls for, to have a presentation of disabled people in their representatives organizations and to decide outcomes. Therefore, for example, we proposed for Article 11 on the exercise of delegation that delegated acts shall be produced in co-production with disabled people and their representative organizations. And we had a further amendment when it comes to this on Article 12, which when the Commission shall involve an adequate number of disabled people and their representative organizations and engage in co-production process. Now that is what we proposed. And usually in advocacy work, we go by preference attainment. So it's rare you achieve the exact same article, but it's about if the preference is achieved. And in the final legislative text, for example, we have Article 10A, representative organizations of persons with disabilities. The member states shall ensure that the active consultation and involvement of representative organizations of persons with disabilities in the development, implementation, and evaluation of both the European Disability Card and the European Parking Card for persons with disabilities. And on the exercise of delegation, we have, before adopting a delegated act, the Commission shall consult persons with disabilities and their representative organizations. So we have the comparison. We have the two articles where we proposed changes and the outcome. And in conclusion, can say that disabled people and their representative organizations will be involved in the implementation, which is a big success. The big question now is, how will this work in practice? Is there going to be like a committee, or like how is this going to take place? And will there be opportunities, for example, to discuss? We will do questions after the presentation, because somebody raised their hand. We will do questions later. Yeah, how does this work in practice, and will there be chance to discuss question like the expiration date of the card, and will there be an opportunity to push for a long period, validity period? Then a second achievement I want to present is the costs for acquiring the cards. There was some debate about this, if there should be a fee for applied for the card, or if the cards should be issued free of charge. And there we proposed on the format to recognition, issue, and validity that the card should be issued renewed free of charge for the beneficiary, so that fees are not a barrier for anyone in having access to this card. And also this was successful. The card will be issued and renewed free of charge to you. It's a good news. Yeah, and you can see the overview between the proposal and what's in the directive. Then a certain area where there is a gap remaining, and this is when it comes to the cross-border access to disability services. So this is an area where we have the major gap, a big gap, or a challenge, a barrier when it comes to the exercising the freedom of movement. Because if you require support for your disability, for example, personal assistance at the moment, if you want to move to another member state, you first have to move there and first apply all over to have your disability recognized, and then apply for personal assistance if it is available in the country. And that can make it very difficult or impossible to move. So the disability rights organizations lobbied to have an automatic recognition of these things. Yeah. So that was the idea. So there was Article 2 on the scope. It was clear from the beginning that member states were very skeptical about this, because they're often scared of welfare tourism. But so the idea was to have an exception for people who work, who have an employment contract, or are enrolled in a EU mobility program, so that only they could benefit from automatic access to personal assistance, for example. But the outcome, unfortunately, that was not successful. So the member states did not agree to allow these exceptions, and instead added some paragraphs to make it even clearer which services are not covered. So no benefits in the area of social security, contributory or non-contributory cash benefits, social assistance, services in the area of long-term inclusion, habilitation, rehabilitation, or others. These will not be covered in the card. And here you see also the two for comparison, what was proposed and what was the outcome. However, we got Article 19 on reporting on review, which says that 1 year after the date of the application, the Commission shall carry out an assessment on any remaining gaps relating to the free movement of persons with disabilities, and the Commission shall take due account of the outcome of this assessment when deciding further action at union level, whether further action at union level would be required to address any such gaps. So the conclusion is there is no immediate cross-border access to disability services, but the hope that this might become a possibility in the future. Yeah. That was my final slide. I propose, because our topics are quite similar, that we go straight over to Kamil, and then we will have comments and questions, and hopefully good answers to our both presentations. Okay, Kamil, I hand over to you.
Thank you, Florian, and thank you everyone for being here and for attending the session. I will not have a PowerPoint presentation today. I will just speak. I hope that's okay. And I am mindful of the time, so I will try to be brief.
Well, you have time, Kamil. You have time. Take your time.
Thank you, but just in case, to have time for discussion and for. So, yeah, happy to be here. And freedom of movement is a very important issue for disabled people. Among those, I would call key issues. So I'm glad that we bring it today from the perspective of the two disability cards. And I will do my best to contribute my tiny bit to the discussion. I would like to share 3 experiences from my personal life, 2 negative ones, but also 1 positive, to illustrate the barriers to accessing the freedom of movement and how they'll be tackled. By the way, I didn't introduce myself, I think so. Yeah, my name is Kamil Gungor, and I work for the European Network on Independent Living for ENIL as Policy and Movement Support Officer, just to be clear, because I think I forgot. So coming back to what I wanted to share with you. So for me, and for many disabled people, personal assistance is the main factor that allows independent living and exercising, choice and control over our lives in every aspect you can imagine. This means from turning sight in the bed in the night, going to the toilet, to getting support in the university or the workplace. And I don't mention the last ones by accident. In my case, as a person with disability, with high support needs, that I don't have access to personal assistance yet. And I said yet because we are working on this in Greece where I live and have some first results, but we are not there yet. This means that not only I don't have full choice and control over my life, which affects also my family as a consequence, but also that my employment options are limited, since I am kind of forced to work remotely as I cannot go to the workplace without support. This is also the reason for me working remotely from home in Athens instead of being in Brussels, where the organization I work for is based. ENIL and my colleague Florian at the moment, they are in Brussels. I would love to move there and to be with my colleagues, to work in the office together with everyone, but it's extremely difficult to make it a reality for a disabled person with high support needs like me. The Belgian government in that case wouldn't accommodate my needs. And I know I am lucky in a way, as I know other people that are even totally unemployed for similar reasons, because they need support at home or wherever they don't get it at all. So not to mention, that those people that are in institutions, which where they don't even discuss about employment and things like that. However, some people do get personal assistance, but still face issues when it comes to access the labor market. For example, in some countries, there are rules that put people, they put specific requirements on who can support you in your work, if they are specifically qualified or not, for which tasks and for which time, how many time, and this kind of things. Sometimes you need to use completely different people for this and for your non-related to work life. And this complicates things instead of making them easier. Or there are no provisions for personal assistance at all in your workplace, things like that. And then you have, problems. You need to pay, for example, for their lunch while you have lunch for free. and this puts you in a disadvantaged position. And okay, you will tell me why I'm mentioning these things, but I think that we need to work more on this to a variety of actions, from awareness raising and trainings, and adequate legislation, to other initiatives for employees. And I think that this is exactly the role what the European Disability Card should and could play. But unfortunately, it seems that it won't, at least anytime soon. And this was a request from the whole movement. And this is disappointing, and it's a missed opportunity. So one aspect was employment. Then one more thing before I finish. I wanted also to talk a little bit, because I work with youth for ENIL. For example, I am coordinating the youth network. So let me bring also the aspects of young people, as I think that it's a group particularly affected when it comes to the topics of our discussion today. ILO statistics show that young disabled people are twice more likely to be needed in employment, education, training, compared to the non-disabled youth. So also as young Europeans, many of us want to take the opportunity and broaden our horizons, to travel abroad, to study and work. Countless young people make use of their freedom of movement every year. However, for young disabled people, this is far from the reality. As soon as we leave our country, our impairments are no longer recognized, and neither is our entitlement to support, making what is already difficult transition even more difficult. We must wait again to be reassessed, and then wait even longer to find out what kind of support we can receive. In this time, because of the lack of necessary support, we might have already lost our job or failed at our studies. I mean, especially when you travel abroad. For those who need round-the-clock assistance, the repercussions are dangerous. This is also the case in my case, when some year ago I was accepted by a very highly at the master's abroad in a historic and very prestigious university in another EU country, but I couldn't go in the end because of the lack of the support. So we talk about the freedom of movement, but in reality, you don't have it. And again, the disability card could play a role in that. We had the presentation that there are some kind of options for a bit longer, but it's still unclear whether you could access your personal assistance for a studying period, for example. So maybe that's a question also to discuss after I finish. And of course, I couldn't just take my whole family with me, because it would be difficult and because it would not be right to do. But so these are two examples, one on employment and one on education, where the card could play a role and support disabled people, with the freedom of movement in Europe, and to change in their lives. But I have also one positive thing. That's 9 years ago, I did a 6-month European voluntary service under Erasmus Plus in Belgium. Today it is called European Solidarity Corps. It's the same thing Alexa mentioned in his question that he is doing. I did it 9 years ago. I was one of the first, I think, in Belgium that got also support from Europe for personal assistance budget. And thanks to this and the support I received from the program, and this changed my life, helped me to get employed, because I was volunteering for ENIL and now I'm working for ENIL. But this is still not the everyday experience, and the real work is not covered by Erasmus Plus, which is, which is the reality. So, when we have in place the right policies and the right support, whether it's the card or other approach, then disabled people can really get the opportunity to move forward and to take advantage and to fulfill their dreams, our dreams in our lives. But very often we still face a lot of barriers. But I think I will stop here. I don't want to, abuse the time, and I'm okay. And I'm happy to, to have the discussion and to answer any questions people may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kamil. Okay, now is the we have plenty of time for questions and comments. Who would like to ask a question or comment? Denno? Okay, Matteo.
Guys, I'm Matteo from Italy, and I would share my experience from disability card to right to movement to personal assistant. I you I never used a disability card because of many times big chain or big technology dealer has not accepted as documents. For example, Apple not accept it disability card as a right document for discount on their products. And for freedom of movement and personal assistant, I say that many times there people can't know can't many times people can't understand can't understand how much important is to person with disability are equal to person with no disability. In my case, that I have a visual impairment, I haven't right to personal assistant because I have too many residual mi viene non mi viene la parola. And so when I ask to personal assistant, they can't take it on me. And so we have and so I have an independent living roadmap because there are no personal assistant because of there is a cheaper to make me an institution to then take me a personal assistant, and it is not right. Sorry for my English and for my explanation of concept. I hope there is understanding where I said bye.
Yes, thank you, Matteo. There's a question from Simon. Simon, please.
First of all, hi, Kamil. Nice to see you again. And I really love that part when you said this gonna be functioned. This gonna like nothing about us without us. Yes, so I'm really happy to see you putting some weight to importance to consult it with people with disabilities, with experiences, good and bad, after going out. So I'm very happy to see it. So just good luck. And if I can help with anything, because I'm a driver, I travel, so I'm more than happy to share some of my experience. Yeah. Good luck.
Thank you, Simon. Yeah, I don't know if well, we can maybe Hannah knows if there are already plans within the Commission how to have disabled people participate in the implementation, but I think it's still a bit early. I don't think I think the directive is still being translated. So this is a question which how this is going to work in practice will probably only be answered at a later point.
Yes, for implementation, it's still far away. But now for putting the initiative in place, as I have mentioned, we still need to have technical features. So we need to have delegated act and implementing act. And with the delegated act, we are doing preparation for its preparation because we need to finish it in 12 months. From the time when the directive enters in force. So we do not have much time. And for this act, we will use the expert group. And we are now discussing how to do it so that it would be the quickest and the easiest solution, how to put such group in place. And we are thinking for now that we could again establish the subgroup of the disability platform. Yes, so but it would be now subgroup with all the member states, because before, or we have still some subgroups in place for particular activities, and member states and civil society organizations that were interested. But now, of course, we would need all member states, and we will as well invite civil society disability organizations to take part, and as well important stakeholders. Yeah, so definitely for the preparation. And yeah, in fact, you mentioned even what is in the directive. So we need to consult disability organizations, and we want to consult and discuss as well with the experts for the preparation of both acts and technicalities. We will definitely involve disability organizations representing persons with disabilities. But of course, you need to realize that the directives are approved or almost approved, and they are describing the situation, they are describing what is being put in place, and now we will only add technicalities. Yeah, so it's not in principle something that would be let's say of such an important for people. We will definitely need experts on security, digital features. Maybe for the implementing act, it might be a little bit more interesting is a bad word, but the implementing act will be about digitalization of the cards. So this is probably more important as well for you, and as well to consult with disability organizations, so that we would do digitalization good in accessible format, accessible for all, so that it would be usable for holders, card holders, and as well for service providers, because of course these digital formats need to be read by some kind of readers and need to be set properly, need to be secure. So this is the second step. But for the implementing act, we will need to have a comitology committee. Yeah, so it will be the committee created in the Council of the EU, but at the same time, we will discuss as well as experts and disability organizations, that is clear. And for the implementation and for evaluation, yeah, this you mentioned that we have quite, let's say, strong, quite extensive evaluation obligations, and this we will do, including these gaps. And these gaps, they don't need to be interlinked with the disability card, because disability card has its function, but the gaps are in areas that are covered, that are somewhere else. So in this respect, we will of course, and we are discussing already with colleagues responsible for social security coordination mechanisms, and we know what are some problems. We will learn about different obstacles and problems, but this all will be taken into account, and this is a broader package that is going beyond the disability card, of course. But as the problems in free movement are broader, this is why this obligation was put in us and was put on us. And in this respect as well, we will cooperate with you very closely to get feedback that we could then build on, for example, in other legislation or initiatives. Yeah, and as only a technical issue on this expiry date, I checked now directive in detail, and really this is connected to national practices. So in principle, it will go in line with the expiry dates, for example, for the national disability cards.
That's good to hear. They're usually valid for 5 years or something. It's often a period.
I think that even in some countries it's forever or a very long expiry period, but these are only exceptions, of course.
That's good.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good luck, and best from University of Technology, my city. So I work here at Faculty of Architecture. So still in work, but nice to see you guys, and good luck. If I can help anything, let me know. Mail next meetings. I will gladly participate. Thanks.
Thank you, Simon. Yeah, thank you for this overview, Anna. This is quite interesting. We are stand ready to help also with technical aspects when it comes to digital accessibility, and yeah, we are also members of the disability platform. So we will, if the subgroup is being reactivated, we will hear about it and can see if we can join. And I think also in the disability platform, you will probably communicate there how, when it comes to social security coordination, how this is going up, I guess. I guess we'll
Yes.
hear about it in the disability platform, probably.
Yes, probably yes. I do not know now the planning, but yeah, this is issue that is very important, and we are discussing with colleagues. But of course, something is possible realistically, and something is not possible realistically to change. But yes, I know, and thank you for these comments and questions about exchange students, workers. This is a very important issue, and this we will as well see for future. I believe already now there are some opportunities under Erasmus as well to get assistance, to get support and personal assistance, but we know that it's not sufficient. And as we really made these efforts, so that it would be clear that the card, even for longer period, would be applicable for participants in such programs. So this is one of the area that we will need to evaluate in detail, what is provided and what should be provided under the directive, and what to change. But this is definitely a very important area, and logically for students and participants in different programs, the card or the cards would be probably the most valuable. That is clear.
Thank you for mentioning that. And yeah, I mean, definitely it's important, and I'm happy to hear that, you know, there is some consideration to even think more about it. The thing is that it's not only about programs like Erasmus, which can be, I don't know, 6 month exchange or something, because that's relatively limited. But in my case, the example I mentioned was that I applied for a full master, like 2 years or something abroad, like many Europeans do. You can travel to other countries and study abroad like a full program for whatever reason. Everyone can do it. Disabled people cannot really do it because we don't get the support we need. So this is the question. It's not only about Erasmus, because in Erasmus you already get quite a lot of support. It's not perfect, but it's not perfect, but it's decent. But
Yes.
you know, out of Erasmus, what happens? This is the question.
Yeah, this is the question, and this as well we were discussing, because the rules are different. But in principle, if you are studying for longer period, you should already register. In the country where you are studying. So in such case, then you could be eligible for support that is provided by this country. So
No, but in Belgium, if I want to, let's say I still want to study in Belgium there are waiting list even for Belgian disabled people.
yeah, of course.
It takes 20 years to get the support.
Yes, I know.
Kamil,
That
I
is
have
true.
I have a question about this.
This is unfortunately something that we cannot change with the card. This is a different issue and a different area. I only wanted to say the principle that sometimes you are obliged to register, after some period. But yeah, that is clear, of course. Yeah, waiting clicks, yeah. And sometimes you even don't, you almost do not have personal assistance provided. That is clear.
Yeah, this, like you say, Hannah, this is a bit a different area. We, as ENIL, we also, together with the European Commission, to work that member states also reform their personal assistance systems
Yes.
to that they're not such long waiting lists. And but Kamil, I was wondering, can you to receive be recognized as disabled and receive personal assistance in Belgium? Do you have to move to Belgium first, or can you apply from Greece?
No, you have to be a resident of Belgium or whatever EU country, and then, you know, wait forever. So for example, if you go for study or for work, you will have to wait. Even if you get it, you might get it 1 year later, but you need to work tomorrow or study tomorrow. So, you know, it's a problem.
You would have
I mean,
to
even if I go to Sweden or to Slovenia or countries who have a good PA system, and maybe they provide it to me, I need, you know, a lot of months to register, to bring all the paperwork, to get into the process. And but you know, studies or work are not waiting.
Yeah. Of course, you have some arrangements and possibilities under social security, but this is something a little bit different than the personal assistance here. This is really a very difficult area that at present is not realistically solvable tomorrow.
No.
Yeah.
The member states will still need quite some convincing to allow automatic access, like to accept eligibility to personal assistance in Greece, to automatically accept this in Belgium too. They will still need a lot of convincing. We have this in other areas of social security, like pensions or healthcare, but
Yes.
not yet when it comes to disability. That is still needs some convincing. This might take some time, but we have this topic with the disability card. It has been raised now, so we have done a first step, perhaps in this direction, a little step.
Yeah, so I always take it from this perspective that we started something, and of course the situation will be developing. And I believe that even by this exchange, for example, what is provided in some area in one member state might then be replicable, or another member states would choose to provide it as well. So I think that it's good that we started our way, and we can see some positive results. Let's hope. In the near future. But of course, the systems of personal assistance are very, very different in across the member states. So yeah, here for changing of residence for free movement, it is very difficult.
And some member states even don't have personal assistance. Like in Belgium, we have this in the north in Flanders, but not in the south in Wallonia. So this would be difficult to do. Are there further questions or comments from others? We have been talking for quite a while. This does not seem to be the case. Yeah, if there are no further questions or comments, we can close a little bit earlier. I hope the weather is good everywhere. You can maybe enjoy the good weather a bit more. I have one last question to Kamil, to which you never mentioned the name of the university that accepted you. To which university did you apply? I'm curious.
It was the university in Poland, the Jagiellonian University, which was one of the first universities in Europe, I think, in Poland, in Krakow. But and I was accepted, like I think they accepted 100 people, and I was like in the first 10, but I was never able to go because I didn't get support.
Yeah.
So it was difficult.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think there are no more questions or comments. Yeah, I thank you. I thank the speakers for your contributions. This was very, very interesting, and I thank all participants for joining and listening. I will share Anna's presentation, and I think the recording of this event will be available online, so you can still watch it later. Yes, thank you very much, and yeah, enjoy your afternoon, the rest of your afternoon.